Okay, I'm back. Now, this one says factor by grouping, alright? Factor by grouping is a special way to do this. Usually they give you 4 things. And so if they give you 4 things here, what they want you to do is group these two together and these two together and try to factor out what they have in common so that you get the same common goal. Now, going off of that, let's look at the first two. We're going to take out everything we can that they have in common. So I got a 20 and a 35. Well, I know 5 goes into both of them. Let's take that out. The smallest b that they have in common is b to the second. So I'm going to take that out. Now again, because I'm factoring out the greatest common factor here, I'm thinking of dividing. So, how many times does 5 go into 20? 4. How many times does b squared go into b cubed? 1. Okay. Plus 5 goes into 35. 7. The b squares cancel out. Now, this 4b plus 7 looks an awful lot like that. Except that's minus b, 4b minus 7. I want it to be 4b plus 7. So I need to take out a minus 1. You could do that. Or you can take out a minus, however you think of it. Because I want this to be positive 4b plus 7. If I were to multiply this in, I would get negative 4b minus 7. So, in order to get it to be 4b plus 7, I take it out. Now, from here I have the same thing. I'm just going to take one of them, move it to the front. That's how I make you think of it. Just take one. They have this in common. You're just taking one, putting it in the front now, okay? And you're grouping the other stuff that's left over on the outside together into its own parentheses. So 5b squared minus 1, this goes there, and this goes there. Can't factor either one of them further, so that's your final answer, okay? Alright, let's look at the next one, okay? Alright, this factor possible. So, this has 2 things. Looks like they have a bunch in common, okay? They're not a difference of 2 squares. Again, difference of 2 squares, which we'll see later, is something like that. Square and square. This is not a square, it's a square. So, I take out what they have in common. Well, I notice they both got a minus sign. Let's get rid of that. Take out a minus. Alright, we got 21 and 15. 3 goes into both of them. Take that out. And the smallest x is x to the second power, so let's take that out. Okay, let's write what's left over. So, negative 3 goes into 21 7 times. X to the second and x to the fifth. There's 3 of them left over. X to the third. Alright. 3 goes into 15 5 times. It's a plus, because I took out the negatives. And the x's cancel. Now I look at this. Can't factor that any further. So then this is the final answer. Let's move on to the next one. That's what this factor is possible. Okay, so now we're getting a tricky situation. Again, whenever you have numbers in front of your x squared term, that makes this process a little bit more difficult. But I do notice something positive. All pluses. That means to tell me that in my factoring, I know it's going to be a plus plus no matter what. Now, how do I get 5b squared? Remember the first problem I asked you, how do you get 2b squared? 2b times b. So to get 5b squared, it's 5b times b. Now, the only thing we have to worry about are what numbers go here. The order is important. Just like with the plus-minus situation, any situation where you have a number in front of the x squared term, like 5 or something, that makes this just as important where you put the numbers. You put them in the wrong spot, and your O and I of FOIL is not going to work out. You're not going to get that middle term. We're looking for 19b, okay? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, leave factors of 12, 12 and 1, like we said, 3 and 4, and 6 and 2. We need to try them. Always try the smaller ones, the closer ones together first, okay? Let's try 6 and 2. So, 6, 2. I'm trying my O and I of FOIL, like we talked about. 6b plus 10b. That's not going to give me 19. So, nope. Switch their positions. 2 and 6. 2b plus 30b. That's definitely not going to give me 19b. So, I'm done with 2 and 6. It's off the market. Now, 3 and 4. So, 3, 4. 3b plus 20b. That's also not going to work. Let's switch the positions here. 3, 4. 4b plus 15b. Ah, that will give me 19b. So I found the answer in this one. That's my factored answer. Finished. So again, you see it's trial and error. If you really know your times table very well, you can pop this list out real quick, test them, cross them off as you go along, and get the answer that way, just like I did. Okay, let's look at this next one here. Does it solve the following equation? It's already been factored for me. I don't have to factor anymore. It's set equal to 0, so I don't have to move anything over to the other side. To do this, you set the individual factors equal to 0, just like this, and you solve for x. So, here, what you do is I have x minus 5 is equal to 0, okay? I add the 5, x is equal to 5, that's one of my answers, alright? Over here, I set this equal to 0. Now, if you're going to go ahead and solve for x, you would divide by -2, etc. You're still going to get 0. Just know that any term that has x with it by itself that's set equal to 0, like 4x, x squared, whatever, it's always going to be 0. Now this actually reminds me, both of these are the answers. Guess what? I didn't solve that earlier problem. I just realized it. So I need to go back, because I've been really bad. Solve that one. I think it's about, oh, here it is. Okay, so I just got the answer, but I didn't solve it. So in this case, let's talk about this real quick. Both of these are set equal to 0. They're both the same thing, so I only need one of the answers. X minus 8 equals 0, plus 8, x is equal to 8. You don't need to write 8 twice. Just pick one of them, okay? So, make sure you circle your answers. See, I messed up. I would have got points taken off for that problem. Let's not do that. This is this one. Got the answer. We're good to go. Let's move on to the next one, okay? Now, factor possible. This is the difference of 2 squares, okay? No equals, so no solving. Difference of 2 squares has a minus. Minus is important. Again, those numbers are things like 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, etc., so on. They keep going up, okay? This is a perfect square, 64, so on. So, if I go to factor this, how do I get x squared? X and x. How do I get 49? 7 and 7. How do I get the minus? We talked about that. What happens here is your middle term cancels out. How do I get a minus? A plus minus. Now, you might not believe me. Let's test our O and I FOIL. I get plus 7x minus 7x. So if I actually sat here and FOILed out this whole thing, I would have got x squared, and then I would have got minus 49. What happens here in the middle? They cancel. Put these two together, that's what I get. So this does work out, okay? That's how they look. But they need to be these numbers. If it was a 2, if it was a 7, if it was 11, it wouldn't work. That would be not factorable. Alright? Look at this next one here. Okay, factor possible. Now this is getting to be easy. You're thinking, why is she doing all the easy ones at the end? In your case, this would probably be one of the first ones on the test. I'm only factoring out a GCF. What do these both have in common? Well, we got 10y, we got 4. What number goes into both of them? They don't have any variables in common, but they both have a 2. Take it out. Again, we're basically dividing here. What's left over? 2 goes into 5 how many times? 2 goes into 10 how many times? 5. Y is left over. 2 goes into 4 how many times? Twice. I can't factor that any further. I'm finished. Don't let the easy ones at the beginning of your test trip you up. Now, the very last one says factor possibly. Yikes. Alright, yeah, it's got 3 things here. It's like what you call a trinomial, but it's not going to factor into this and this. At least I don't know right away. The reason why is there's got a y in it, got a bunch of stuff going on. So my first bet is to factor out a greatest common factor. I noticed that all of them have an x, and all of them have at least a 2. So I'm going to take out 2x. Alright, the first one, 2 goes into 4 twice. X goes into x squared once. Okay, 2 goes into 2, disappears. X goes into x squared once. Y cubed comes along for the ride. Okay, 2 goes into 22, 11. And then the x's cancel out. Now I look at this. Can I factor that further? No. There's nothing else I can factor. I can't take anything out. And I can't do, this and this like a binomial. Do it that way, okay? So at this stage, I'm finished. This is the final answer. Can't take it any further. Don't worry if you get a problem like this on the test. Doesn't mean you did something wrong. Okay? But especially early on, they'll probably throw these kind at you early in the test and then do the ones that we were just doing a little bit ago later on as the tests get harder. Now, you got the solutions and how to work these out, okay? I've showed you how to do them, give you some tips and tricks. Make sure you have a calculator, make sure you know those timetables very well. Try to go through and redo these on your own. Check the study guide that you have from your teacher. Try to redo some of those problems. If not, you can come visit us at the lower level of Page Library in the Tutoring Center, and we can help you down there at Academic Support to get you some help preparing for this test, okay? But this can be a really hard test for some students. So if you're not really strong with multiplication and so on, you need to come see us so we can get this going, okay? Otherwise, thank you for watching, and good luck.